All right, looking at 11.2, box and whisker plots. Now I know that you learned, I believe, a little bit about box and whisker plots last year. Getting a little further into it this year, and it's a little bit more difficult concept. So we just want to make sure that we're paying attention, taking notes, right, following along, all of that. I got some vocab stuff here. So looking at box and whisker plot, really what it's doing is it's showing the variability of the data. And variability is just how spread out, where is it located, are there a lot of numbers, lower, are there a lot of numbers higher, where's the median, right? A lot of information that can be seen by a box and whisker plot here. If we take a look at it, um, we've got these things called quartiles. And quartile, the root word quart, meaning four, breaks this data into four equal parts. Okay, four even parts here. We've got the whisker, the box, the whisker, right? We've got four parts. Each one of these four parts, right? So we've got one, two, three, four. Each one of those four parts holds 25% of the data. Okay, so that means if it's really scrunched together like it is here, this is still 25% of the data, meaning there are a lot of numbers right in that area. Okay, if it's more spread out, like number two here, again, that's 25% of the data. That means there's not a lot of numbers in that area. It's more spread out. Okay, so the smaller the area, the smaller the quartile, that means the numbers there are really close together. Okay, that's what that's telling us. Um, when we look at it, we're dealing with the five number summary. Okay, five number summary are the five numbers that we use to create the box and whisker. And each point is one of those. So you've got the least value, which is just the smallest number that we have, the greatest value, which is the biggest number in our data set, the median, we know how to find that. We've talked about that before. That's the median. So really the ones that are new just to box and whisker are the Q1 and Q3. Q1 and Q3, which would be this point and this point, Q1 and Q3. Um, so we'll talk, it shows you a little bit, or it shows you the definition up here, right? The median of the lower half of the lower half is the first quartile, the median of the upper half is the third quartile. So we're going to take a look at this next example, and we're going to take a look at how do we actually create a box and whisker. Now, on the homework, you're not going to actually be asked to create the box and whisker, but it's important that you know how to, because you're going to have to choose which one of these is correct. And so by learning how to create a box and whisker, um, that is going to allow you to do that. Now, on the test that we are going to have, I think it's next week, you are going to be asked to create a box and whisker. So it is important, okay? Even if you don't see it on the assignment, the homework assignment, you will see it on the test, so it is important. So let's take a look at what that looks like here. We're going to I'm gonna show it to you. Okay, I'm gonna walk through instead of drawing it all out myself. It's a whole lot easier based on what I have. If I had a whiteboard, we'd be doing this, um, this whole thing on our own, but we've got it here. So first thing you have to do, once you have that data set, and right here's our data set up here, a whole bunch of numbers, you gotta put them in order. Just like finding the median, you gotta put them in order, least to greatest. Okay, put them in order, least to greatest. And then we need to find the median. The median here, you look, you got six numbers on each side. The median is in between these two 25s. And it's the average of those two, which means the median is, in fact, 25. Okay, so now we've got the lower half this way. We've got the upper half this way. So what we do is we take that lower half, and now we find the median again. Find the median of just that lower half. So ignore the upper half for right now and just find the median of the lower half. Well, now I've got 3 and 3. My median of the lower half is going to be right in between there. So the median average between the 22 and the 24 is the 23. So that would be our Q1. Okay, so we've got that. Now we go back and we ignore the lower half and we do the same thing on the upper half. Exactly in the middle here. And so we've got Q3 is 29. So when we look at it, we've got our least value, which is 18. We've got our first quartile, we've got our median, we've got our third quartile, and we've got our greatest value, which is 30. That's the 5-number summary. Those 5 numbers are what are considered the 5-number summary. So to create this, what we do first is we use our middle 3 numbers, 23, 25, 29, and on a number line, on a regular number line, okay, regular number line, everything's evenly spaced. You above the line, you put your points 23, 25, 29. That is going to be the box. Okay, those middle 3 numbers, that's the box. Then you've got your greatest value, you've got your smallest value, then you draw your whiskers out to those points. Okay, that's what we're looking at. Okay, I'm going to point out a couple other things here. And to do so, let's get a whiteboard up here. Let's create our own. Okay, so when we create our own, I'm going to go with my numbers here. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got 11 numbers up here. Okay, they're in order. I've got 11 numbers. I'm going to find my 5-number summary. So first thing I got to do is I got to find the median. Since there are 11 numbers, I know I got 5 on each side. My median is going to be that middle number. 7 is the middle number. I got 5 on either side. So that's my median right there. I got to find halfway on either side. Now, when I do this, and this is why I wanted to do one on our own, because you didn't run into this with the other one. If you have a median that is part of your data set, so 7 is the median, it's part of the data set, you need to ignore that median. Ignore that median when you are finding the median, the first quartile, the third quartile. Ignore that median. That does not count in your data. Okay, so now when I find the median of the first half, find my Q1, it's going to be 6. When I find the median of the second half, the upper half, it's going to be 10. That's my Q3. Then I've got my biggest number. I've got my, oops, I don't know why it's not moving. There we go. And my smallest number. Okay, so those are my 5 numbers. Remember that was a 7 there. We said that was the median. So those are my 5 numbers. I need to create the number line. Now the mistake that I see, and I see it every year, and I don't understand why kids do it, they'll do this. Well, there are my 5 numbers. Let's create my box and whisker. And if you do that, if you place those numbers evenly spaced, your 5-number summary evenly spaced, it's always going to look the same. So that's not it. Okay, so instead, we know we need to go from 2 all the way up to 17. What I would do probably is I would go from 0 to 20, cut it in half there, cut it in half here, and then we can place our points. And when we place our points, they kind of hover above. Okay, so I got a 2, I got a 6, I got a 7, I got a 10, and I got a 17. So there are my 5 points. Use the middle 3 to create the box, and then the rest uses the whisker. Okay, so there you go. That's how we're going to create that box and whisker. Okay, if you need to, look back at it, look at it again. So now interpreting, okay, and you see it here, half the data is in the box. That's considered the middle half of the data. So anytime they're asking about the middle half of the data, they're talking about inside the box. And inside the box, we have what's called the interquartile range, or the IQR. The IQR is the range of the box. So the third quartile minus the first quartile. That is what the IQR is. So IQR in your notes, which you should be taking, Q3 minus Q1. That is the IQR. Okay, pretty straightforward there if you remember it. So interpreting it, Um, we've got um, to find and interpret the range of the data. Range is still the whole thing, right? Biggest minus smallest, like we learned about last week. The distribution of it. Describe the distribution. Well, 25% is here, 50% is here, 25% is here, like we talked about. The interquartile range. Well, that's the Q3 minus Q1. 280 minus 220 is 60. That means 50% of the data is within those 60 seconds. And then are they more spread out below or above? Since this is longer, it's more spread out below. Okay, that's what we're looking at there. These shapes, okay, this is kind of important. You're going to see questions on this. Skewed left, symmetric, or skewed right. Symmetric is when it's pretty much the same on either side, right? Same on either side. Both sides basically look the same. The whiskers are about the same. The median's about in the middle. If you look skewed left, that means it tails off to the left, okay? And it's kind of the opposite of what you might think. The median is off to the right side, but it tails off. The left side is longer. Okay, how about that? If the left side is longer, we say it's skewed left. If the right side is longer, then it's skewed right. Okay, that's what we're looking at there. So when we look at identify the shape of each distribution, okay, your class is going to be skewed left because here's the median and the left side is longer than the right side. Friend's class is going to be about symmetric because that median's about in the middle. Okay, which test scores are more spread out? Well, theirs are. Your friend's class, right? It's longer, it's wider, it's more spread out. So they're going to ask you a bunch of questions about these box and whisker plots and what can we say about them. It's just how spread out they are. They're going to ask you for the IQR. They're going to ask you to identify the right one. Just remember what these 5 points are. This is the lowest score. This is the highest score. This is the median. And then this is your Q1, which is halfway through the bottom half of the data. This is Q3, which is halfway through the top half of the data. Okay, that's what those points look at. Really, that's all we have here for box and whisker plots. So make sure that you understand what the box and whisker plot is showing you here. All right, and as always, email if you have any questions on it.